Admiral Catherine Mills stood at the observation deck of Jupiter Station, her gray eyes fixed on the massive gas giant that dominated the view. The space around Jupiter buzzed with activity as defense platforms and patrol ships maintained their careful watch over humanity's outer defense line. She took a sip from her coffee mug, savoring the taste of real Earth coffee, one of the few luxuries she allowed herself out here. The quiet beeping of her personal communicator broke the peaceful moment. "Admiral Mills," a young officer's voice came through. "We have an urgent transmission from Earth Command. Priority Alpha." Catherine's expression remained neutral, but her hand tightened slightly around the coffee mug. Priority Alpha meant only one thing: alien contact. "Send it to my private office, Lieutenant," she replied, already turning away from the view. Her office, located just 2 decks below, was a simple room with minimal decorations. A model of Earth's first FTL ship sat on her desk, next to a family photo. She settled into her chair and activated the secure communication channel. General Richard Cole's hologram appeared before her desk. His usual confident expression was replaced with concern. "Kate, we have a situation. The Alvari Dominion has called an emergency session of the Galactic Council. They're demanding our presence." Catherine felt her stomach tighten. The Alvari were the most militant of the galactic powers, and they had never hidden their distaste for humanity's rapid advancement into space. What's their stated reason? They claim to have evidence of unauthorized human military activity beyond our agreed boundaries. Richard's hologram flickered slightly. "Ambassador Wright is already preparing for departure, but Earth Command wants you there too. This isn't just a diplomatic matter anymore." "They found something?" Catherine asked, her mind racing through the various classified operations currently in progress. "They think they did." A slight smile crossed Richard's face. "Remember Operation Ghostlight?" Catherine allowed herself a small smile in return. Ghostlight had been one of their more clever deceptions, a series of carefully engineered sensor echoes and holographic projections designed to test alien detection capabilities. "How much time do we have?" "The Council convenes in 72 hours. The U.S. Nightingale is ready to transport you and the diplomatic team." "And Kate," Richard paused, his expression serious again, "the President has authorized implementation of Protocol 7 if necessary." Catherine's eyebrows rose slightly. Protocol 7 was their contingency plan for revealing certain technological capabilities, carefully selected ones that would surprise but not terrify the galactic community. "Understood. I'll be ready in 2 hours." After the transmission ended, Catherine walked back to the observation deck. The view had changed. Jupiter's great red spot was now visible, its eternal storm, a reminder of nature's raw power. She touched her communicator again. "Lieutenant Amy Martinez, report to my office in 30 minutes. Full security protocols." Amy Martinez was one of their best Phantom ship commanders, currently operating far beyond the solar system's edge. The young officer's real ship was virtually undetectable, using technology that even the Alvari couldn't imagine. The decoy vessels they detected were primitive in comparison. Catherine spent the next hour reviewing classified files and making secure calls. By the time she boarded the Nightingale, a complete response strategy was taking shape. Ambassador Daniel Wright was already aboard, going through diplomatic protocols with his team. "Admiral," he greeted her with a nod. Daniel was a tall man with kind eyes that masked one of the sharpest diplomatic minds on Earth. "I hear we might need to show some cards this time." "Just enough to make them reconsider their assumptions about us," Catherine replied as they walked to the ship's conference room. "How's our intelligence on the current council makeup?" Daniel brought up a holographic display showing the various alien representatives. "The Alvari have been building support among the smaller races, mostly through economic pressure. But the Centaurians and the Rigelian Confederation are staying neutral. They've had their own run-ins with Alvari expansionism." The Nightingale's engines hummed to life as they began their departure from Jupiter Station. Through the conference room's windows, Catherine watched as the massive defense platforms activated their cloaking systems, vanishing from sight. The Alvari and their allies thought they knew the extent of Earth's military capability. They had no idea that what they could see was less than a tenth of humanity's true strength. "They're expecting us to be defensive," Catherine said, studying the alien faces in the hologram. "They'll have prepared for denials, diplomatic maneuvering, maybe even some technology they think we can't detect. But they're not prepared for us to be confident." Daniel smiled. "The best defense is a good offense. The best defense is letting them realize that offending us would be a terrible mistake." Catherine brought up another hologram, this one showing the Alvari fleet movements over the past month. Their own military buildup hasn't gone unnoticed. Commander Harris has compiled quite a file on their recent activities. The next 2 days passed in careful preparation. The Nightingale traveled through conventional FTL space, deliberately avoiding use of their advanced slit space drive. Catherine spent the time coordinating with Earth's hidden defense networks and reviewing intelligence reports. Lieutenant Martinez's Phantom Fleet had already positioned itself near the Council Station, though no one but Earth Command knew they were there. As they approached the massive Council Station, a sprawling structure of crystalline towers and curved metal spans, Catherine stood on the Nightingale's bridge. The station's traffic control was directing them to a diplomatic dock, their tone professionally courteous but cool. "Admiral," the sensor officer called out, "we're picking up 13 Alvari warships in holding patterns around the station. That's 7 more than allowed under Council protocols." Catherine exchanged a look with Daniel. The Alvari were playing their own game of intimidation. Little did they know, they were about to become players in humanity's carefully crafted performance. "Confirm our standard diplomatic docking procedures," she ordered, "and make sure our sensor logs of those extra warships are transmitted back to Earth Command through secure channels." The Nightingale docked smoothly, connecting to one of the crystalline arms of the station. As Catherine and Daniel prepared to disembark with their team, she received one final update from Lieutenant Martinez, transmitted through channels that no known alien technology could detect. "Phantom Fleet in position. All Council memberships under surveillance. We're ready." Catherine straightened her uniform and nodded to Daniel. The next few hours would reshape the galaxy's understanding of humanity's capabilities. But first, they would let the Alvari make their accusations. Let them think they had the upper hand. As the airlock cycled, Catherine allowed herself a small smile. The Alvari had wanted to teach humanity a lesson about their place in the galaxy. Instead, they were about to learn one themselves. The council chamber was a vast circular room with towering windows that looked out into space. Reigns of seats rose in elegant tiers, each occupied by representatives from different galactic civilizations. Admiral Catherine Nils and Ambassador Daniel Wright sat at the human delegation's assigned space, their faces calm despite the tension in the room. Above them, in the shadows of the highest tier, Lieutenant Amy Martinez's Phantom ship hung in perfect stillness, completely invisible to every sensor in the station. She watched the proceedings through advanced optical systems, her crew maintaining absolute silence, even though no one could detect them. Council Elder Zixtal, the Alvari Supreme Commander, stood at the center of the chamber. His scaled skin gleamed under the soft lights as he activated a large holographic display. "Honorable members of the Council," his translator conveyed his words in perfect standard English. "We have called this emergency session to address a grave concern." The hologram showed grainy footage of what appeared to be ships moving through space near Alvari territory. "These vessels," Zixtal continued, "were detected by our border patrols. They match no known configuration, but our analysis confirms they are of human origin." Catherine kept her expression neutral, though internally she smiled. The Alvari had taken the bait perfectly. Those ships were exactly what Earth wanted them to see, convincing decoys that had been deliberately allowed to be detected. Ambassador Wright leaned forward slightly. "Council Elder, with respect, those images are quite unclear. Could you provide more detailed sensor data?" Zixtal's throat scales fluttered in what humans had learned was a sign of satisfaction. He believed he had caught them in a lie. "Of course, Ambassador. He gestured, and the hologram changed to show detailed sensor readings. From her hidden position above, Lieutenant Martinez watched her sensor displays carefully. The Alvari were using their best detection systems to track the decoy ships. But her own vessel, merely 100 meters above them, remained completely undetected. These readings, Zixtal announced, show energy signatures consistent with human technology. But these ships were found well beyond your species' agreed operational zone. This is a clear violation of Council space protocols. A murmur ran through the assembled delegates. Catherine glanced at the Centaurian representative, noting how the crystalline being's facets sparkled with what she knew was interest rather than alarm. The Centaurians had always been more perceptive than most. Ambassador Wright stood, his movements unhurried. Council Elder, members of the Assembly, we thank the Alvari Dominion for bringing this to our attention. He paused, letting the diplomatic courtesy sink in. However, I must point out that these readings also match several known natural phenomena. Perhaps we could have our scientific experts examine the data. Natural phenomena do not move in formation. Zixtal's translator couldn't quite mask the frustration in his voice. We have tracked these vessels for weeks. They demonstrate clear patterns of intelligent control. Catherine decided it was time to add her perspective. She stood, her uniform crisp and perfect. Council Elder, if I may. She waited for his reluctant nod. As Earth's military representative, I can state with certainty that if those were our ships, they would not have been detected by standard sensors. The chamber grew quiet. It was a carefully calculated statement, not a denial of the ship's existence, but a subtle suggestion that human technology was more advanced than the Alvari realized. In her phantom ship, Lieutenant Martinez smiled. The Admiral was playing her part perfectly. She sent a coded signal to the rest of her hidden fleet, preparing them for the next phase of the plan. Are you suggesting, Zixtal said slowly, that human stealth technology is superior to Alvari detection systems? I am suggesting, Catherine replied calmly, that there's more to this situation than simple sensor readings. Perhaps we should discuss why the Alvari Dominion has twice the allowed number of warships stationed around this council facility. That caused an even bigger stir. Several delegates began checking their own sensor readings, confirming the presence of the additional Alvari ships. The Regellian representative, a tall, elegant being with iridescent skin, raised a hand. This is a serious accusation, Admiral. Exceeding the allowed military presence at council meetings is a major violation. Zixtal's scales darkened with anger. Our additional ships are here to protect the council from human aggression. These sensor readings prove they are expanding their military presence. No, Catherine said firmly. These readings prove that you detected exactly what we wanted you to detect. She nodded to Ambassador Wright, who activated their own holographic display. The new hologram showed the same ships, but from a different perspective. In this view, it was clear that the energy signatures were artificial. Too perfect, too regular. They were decoys, designed specifically to be detected and analyzed. The vessels you detected, Catherine explained, are unmanned drones. They serve as part of our border defense network, monitoring for exactly the kind of military buildup the Alvari have been conducting. Lieutenant Martinez watched her tactical display as the council chamber erupted in surprise discussions. The Alvari ships around the station were changing formation, moving into more aggressive positions. She sent another quiet signal to her fleet, adjusting their hidden positions to maintain optimal coverage. Ambassador Wright took over smoothly. We present this evidence not as an accusation, but as a demonstration of our commitment to galactic security. These drones helped us monitor a concerning pattern of military expansion by the Alvari Dominion. A new hologram appeared, showing months of Alvari fleet movements. It revealed a clear pattern of aggressive positioning, not just near human space, but along the borders of several other council races. This is an outrage, Zixtal declared. You admit to spying on our fleet movements. We admit to defending our interests and those of our peaceful neighbors, Catherine replied. and we have barely begun to demonstrate what we're capable of. Above them, Lieutenant Martinez prepared her systems for the next phase. The real demonstration was about to begin, and it would change everything the Council thought they knew about human capabilities. The Centaurian representative's crystals pulsed with light. I believe, its harmonic voice resonated through the chamber, that this session has revealed far more than originally intended. Perhaps we should address the underlying issue. The balance of power in Council space is shifting, and some find this uncomfortable. Catherine met Zixtal's gaze steadily. The Alvari commander was beginning to realize that his attempt to embarrass and constrain humanity had backfired spectacularly. But he didn't yet know that this was just the beginning. The Council chamber grew tense as Zixtal, the Alvari supreme commander, moved to reassert control of the situation. The Alvari Dominion demands immediate sanctions against Earth for their deceptions and military expansionism. Admiral Catherine Mills remained standing, her posture relaxed but commanding. She shared a brief glance with Ambassador Wright before addressing the Council. Before this body considers any sanctions, Earth would like to offer a demonstration. A demonstration. The Rigelian representative's iridescent skin flickered with interest. Of what nature? Of how outdated your understanding of human capabilities really is, Catherine replied. She touched her communications badge. Captain John Reynolds, you may proceed. The chamber fell silent. Nothing happened for several long seconds, and Zixtal's scales rippled with what seemed like amusement. Is this your demonstration, Admiral? Empty theatrics. Dr. Laura Bennett, Earth's lead scientist on slip space technology, sat quietly in her observer's seat behind Catherine, monitoring readings on her tablet. She alone knew exactly what was about to happen. Suddenly, space itself seemed to shiver. Through the chamber's massive windows, the assembled delegates watched in amazement as 5 identical ships appeared simultaneously at different points around the station. Each ship was sleek in silver, bearing Earth's naval markings and the name U.S. Hyperion. Impossible, one of the alien scientists muttered. No ship can exist in multiple locations. The 5 Hyperions began to move in perfect synchronization, creating a complex pattern around the station. Then, in a display that defied known physics, they merged into a single vessel which came to rest directly in front of the Council chamber's main window. Captain John Reynolds' voice came through the chamber's communication system. U.S. Hyperion, reporting as requested. Admiral. The Council erupted into chaos. Representatives from 24 species began talking at once, their universal translators creating a cacophony of overlapping voices. The Alvari delegation stood frozen, their military experts frantically checking sensor readings. Catherine allowed the chaos to continue for a moment before raising her hand for silence. What you just witnessed is called slip space manifestation. It's a technology we developed 3 years ago. She paused, letting that sink in. And yes, it's fully operational. This violates all known laws of physics. The Centaurian scientist protested, its crystalline form vibrating with excitement. A ship cannot exist in multiple locations simultaneously. Dr. Bennett stood up. Actually, it can. We discovered that space-time isn't as rigid as previously thought. Through careful manipulation of quantum fields, we can create temporary parallel manifestations of the same object. In her hidden position above the chamber, Lieutenant Amy Martinez watched her sensor displays with satisfaction. The Alvari ships that had been moving into aggressive positions were now backing away from the Hyperion. Their sensors probably overloaded trying to analyze the impossible feat they had just witnessed. Ambassador Wright stepped forward. Earth has chosen to reveal this capability not as a threat, but as a demonstration of why military confrontation would be unwise. We prefer peaceful cooperation, but we will not be intimidated. Zixtal had recovered enough to speak. This is why you allowed us to detect those primitive drones. As a deception. As a courtesy, Catherine corrected. We wanted to give you a chance to reconsider your aggressive posture without revealing our full capabilities. Unfortunately, you chose to escalate the situation. The Rigelian representative's voice cut through the tension. I believe we need to understand the full implications of this technology. Captain Reynolds, can you elaborate on your ship's capabilities? Captain Reynolds' hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. He was a calm-looking man in his 40s, with the quiet confidence of someone who knew exactly what his ship could do. The slip space drive allows us to travel through space in ways that conventional FTL cannot. We can appear at multiple points simultaneously, merge those points, or use them to gather intelligence from several locations at once. Dr. Bennett added, the technology also allows for unprecedented defensive capabilities. A ship under attack can split its manifestations, making it virtually impossible to target. The council members watched as the Hyperion demonstrated this capability, smoothly splitting into 3 vessels that moved in different patterns before merging again. The display was both beautiful and terrifying in its implications. And this is just one ship, Catherine noted. One ship of a class that we're now comfortable revealing. The unspoken implication was clear. What other capabilities did humanity possess that they weren't revealing? The Centaurian representative's crystals pulsed with diplomatic patterns. I believe we need to reconsider the earlier accusations. Clearly, Earth has shown both significant technological advancement and remarkable restraint in its use. Zixtel, his earlier aggression replaced by careful calculation, spoke slowly. The Alvari Dominion acknowledges Earth's capabilities. Perhaps we should discuss new terms for military presence in shared space. I have a better suggestion, Ambassador Wright said. Earth would like to propose a joint defense initiative. We're willing to share certain aspects of our technology with peaceful members of the Council, under proper supervision and mutual defense agreements. This caused another stir in the chamber, but this time the excitement was tinged with hope rather than fear. The possibility of accessing even a fraction of Earth's technology was enough to make most species reconsider their positions. Catherine watched as the political landscape shifted before her eyes. The Hyperion's demonstration had transformed Earth from a potential threat to a desired ally in the span of minutes. But she knew this was just the beginning of a larger change in galactic politics. In her Phantom ship, Lieutenant Martinez received a private message from Earth Command. Phase 3 complete. Prepare for diplomatic aftermath. She smiled, knowing that the real work of reshaping the galaxy's power structure was just beginning. The council chamber buzzed with excited discussions as representatives began to realize the full implications of what they had witnessed. Earth had not just demonstrated technological superiority. They had shown that everything the galactic community thought they knew about physics and space travel might need to be reconsidered. Captain Reynolds maintained the Hyperion's position outside the chamber windows, a quiet reminder of humanity's newfound power. The ship's presence said what words couldn't. The galaxy had entered a new era, and humanity would help shape its future. The council chamber had transformed into a scene of controlled chaos. Small groups of delegates huddled together, their voices a mix of excitement and concern. The Hyperion remained visible through the chamber windows, a constant reminder of humanity's surprising revelation. Commander Susan Harris watched it all from her position in the observation gallery. As head of Earth's Intelligence Division, she had been waiting for this moment. She caught Admiral Mills's subtle hand signal and knew it was time for the next phase of their plan. Honorable delegates, Susan's clear voice cut through the noise as she stood. Before we continue these discussions, there's additional information the Council should consider. All eyes turned to her as she made her way down to the chamber floor. The Alvari delegation tensed visibly. Their intelligence services knew exactly who she was. Over the past 6 months, Susan continued, activating a new holographic display. We've gathered extensive evidence of unauthorized military activities, not by Earth, but by the Alvari Dominion. The hologram showed detailed footage of secret Alvari shipyards hidden in supposedly neutral space. Massive warships under construction filled the screens, their designs clearly meant for offensive operations. Zixtel's scales turned pale. This is a fabrication. These images are clearly taken by our Phantom fleet ships, Susan interrupted smoothly. The same ones you never detected. Would you like to see the sensor logs? Or perhaps the transmission records between your military command and these illegal facilities? Ambassador Wright stepped forward, his expression concerned but diplomatic. The Council should understand that we're not presenting this as an accusation, but as context for recent events. The Rigelian representative's skin rippled with patterns of deep thought. Context indeed. The Alvari's recent accusations against Earth appear to have been a preemptive move. Diplomatic Officer Eric Turner, standing near the Earth delegation, began distributing data tablets to key council members. Each tablet contained carefully selected intelligence, showing not just the Alvari's military buildup, but also their attempts to pressure smaller races into anti-Earth alliances. This is an outrage, Zixtal declared, but his voice lacked its earlier confidence. We are a sovereign power. Our defense preparations exceed allowed council limits by 300%. Susan finished for him. She brought up new images showing secret Alvari fleet movements. These preparations began shortly after your first failed attempt to detect our phantom ships. You knew you had found only decoys, and it frightened you. The Council Security Chief, Krelvor, a tall being with silvery skin, moved to the center of the chamber. As head of Council Security, I must ask, how did you obtain this intelligence without detection? Admiral Mills smiled slightly. The same way we're gathering intelligence right now. She looked up toward the ceiling. Lieutenant Martinez, if you would. The air in the center of the chamber shimmered, and suddenly a small Earth vessel appeared, hovering silently. It had been there the entire time, completely invisible to all detection systems. The chamber erupted again. The Alvari delegation jumped to their feet, weapons appearing in their hands. Council security forces moved quickly to surround them. Please, Ambassador Wright said calmly, let's not make this situation worse. Earth has had the capability to monitor every council session for the past 2 years. We've chosen to use this ability only for defensive purposes. Lieutenant Martinez's voice came through the chamber speakers. We currently have 15 phantom ships stationed throughout council space. They've been documenting illegal military activities by several member races, not just the Alvari. This caused another stir. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Earth is not interested in enforcing council regulations, Catherine announced, her voice carrying authority. We are interested in establishing a new framework for galactic security, one based on transparency and mutual defense rather than secret buildups and intimidation. The Centaurian representative's crystals pulsed with approval patterns, a wise approach. Perhaps it's time to discuss restructuring the Council's defense protocols. Ambassador Wright nodded. Earth would be happy to help develop new security frameworks. We've prepared several proposals that would benefit all peaceful member races. Eric Turner began distributing another set of tablets, these containing Earth's proposals for a new galactic defense treaty. The documents had been carefully crafted to offer significant benefits to cooperative races while diplomatically isolating those who refused to participate. Commander Harris watched as the council members reviewed the proposals. She could see the moment each delegate realized the implications. Earth was offering protection and limited access to their technology in exchange for peaceful cooperation. These proposals are quite generous, the Rigelian representative noted, but they would require significant changes to current military protocols. The galaxy is changing, Catherine replied. We can either change with it or be left behind. Earth is offering a path forward that benefits everyone willing to choose peace over aggression. Zixtal, his earlier bluster gone, studied the proposal tablet intently. The Alvari Dominion was being offered a face-saving way out of their failed gambit, but the price would be accepting a new balance of power, one where they weren't the dominant military force. Lieutenant Martinez's phantom ship remained visible in the chamber, a quiet reminder of how much of Earth's technology still remained hidden. The delegates couldn't help but wonder. If this was what humans were willing to show, what capabilities were they keeping secret? The Council Security Chief approached Admiral Mills. These proposals would require significant oversight mechanisms. How would Earth suggest we implement them? We've already prepared detailed implementation plans, Catherine answered, including ways to verify compliance without compromising any race's sovereign security. As the discussions continued, Commander Harris noticed several delegates sending urgent messages to their home governments. The political landscape of the galaxy was shifting, and everyone knew it. Earth had transformed a potential censure into an opportunity to reshape galactic politics. Ambassador Wright moved smoothly between delegate groups, answering questions and offering clarifications. The fear that had initially gripped the Council was being replaced by cautious optimism, at least among those races not involved in illegal military activities. The Alvari delegation sat in tense discussion, their scales shifting through various emotional colors. They were rapidly running out of options. Either they could accept Earth's new framework and maintain their position as a major power, or resist and risk having more of their secret operations exposed. Above them all, Lieutenant Martinez's phantom ship hovered silently, its advanced sensors recording every word, every reaction, every secret communication. The galaxy would never be the same after today, and humanity had positioned itself at the center of the coming changes. The final hours of the Emergency Council session moved quickly. Admiral Catherine Mills watched as one delegation after another voted to accept Earth's proposals. Even the Alvari, after several private communications with their home government, added their agreement to the new defense framework. "The motion passes," announced the Council Elder, his voice carrying across the chamber. "Earth will be granted a permanent seat on the Galactic Defense Committee, effective immediately." Ambassador Daniel Wright exchanged a satisfied nod with Catherine. They had transformed a potential diplomatic crisis into a complete restructuring of galactic power dynamics. The Council chamber, which hours ago had been filled with accusations and threats, now buzzed with excited discussions about future cooperation. Lieutenant Martinez's phantom ship had returned to invisibility, but everyone in the chamber knew it was still there somewhere, watching. The demonstration had achieved exactly what Earth wanted. No one would ever again underestimate humanity's capabilities. Commander Susan Harris approached Catherine with a data tablet. "Admiral, the final vote tallies are interesting. Even some of the traditionally isolationist races voted in our favor." Catherine smiled slightly. "Fear can be a powerful motivator, but hope is even stronger. We gave them both today." The Centaurian representative glided over to the Earth delegation, its crystalline form catching the light. "Admiral Mills, my government is particularly interested in the educational exchange program mentioned in Section 7 of the proposals. We have much to learn from each other." "Indeed we do," Catherine replied diplomatically. She knew the Centaurians were especially interested in the slip space technology they had witnessed. What they didn't know was that Earth had already developed far more advanced systems. Across the chamber, strategic analyst Maria Rodriguez was quietly observing the various diplomatic interactions. Her trained eye caught the subtle signals passing between delegates. New alliances were already forming, with Earth at the center of many of them. Ambassador Wright, the Regelian representative, called out, their iridescent skin showing patterns of respect. "My government would like to begin discussions about the joint defense initiatives as soon as possible." Daniel nodded graciously. "Of course, we can set up preliminary meetings for next week." He made a note on his tablet, knowing that Earth's diplomatic corps was about to become very busy. Captain John Reynolds's voice came through Catherine's private communicator. "Admiral, the Hyperion sensors are picking up some interesting reactions from the Alvari ships. They're reconfiguring their sensor arrays, probably trying to understand our slip space technology." "Let them try," Catherine replied softly. "What they saw today won't help them much." As the session drew to a close, various delegates approached the Earth delegation to arrange future meetings. The political landscape had shifted dramatically in just a few hours, and everyone wanted to secure their position in the new order. Commander Harris received a secure transmission from one of her intelligence teams. She moved closer to Catherine and spoke in a low voice. The Alvari are already recalling their secret fleets. They're not taking any chances after today's revelations. Good, Catherine responded. Though I suspect they'll try to maintain at least some hidden capabilities. Of course they will, Susan agreed. But now we have official authority to monitor such activities. The new defense framework gives us considerable oversight power. Maria Rodriguez approached with another data tablet. Admiral, I've completed the initial analysis of Council member reactions. As predicted, the demonstration of the slip space drive has caused them to significantly overestimate our current military capabilities. Catherine took the tablet, quickly scanning the detailed behavioral analysis. Everything was proceeding according to plan. The council races would spend years trying to understand and replicate what they had seen today, never realizing they were chasing outdated technology. Ambassador Wright joined them as the chamber began to empty. The Centaurians and Rigelians are already discussing forming a joint research initiative with us. They're practically falling over themselves to establish closer ties. And the Alvari? Catherine asked. Thoroughly humbled, but not broken, Daniel replied. Which is exactly what we wanted. They'll be a useful counterbalance in future negotiations, just not the threat they tried to be. Lieutenant Martinez's voice came through Catherine's communicator again. Admiral, the Phantom Fleet is ready to escort you back to Earth. We've mapped all the new sensor configurations the various races are using. None of them come close to detecting our actual capabilities. Well done, Lieutenant, Catherine responded. Maintain surveillance, but keep your distance. Let them think they have more privacy than they actually do. As the Earth delegation prepared to depart, Catherine took a moment to look out at the stars through the council chamber's windows. Humanity had just changed the course of galactic history, and most of the council races didn't even realize how completely they had been outmaneuvered. Back aboard the Nightingale, Catherine received a classified transmission from Earth Command. She read it in her private quarters, a small smile playing across her face. The report confirmed what she already knew. The technology they had demonstrated today, impressive as it was, had been surpassed by Earth's research divisions 3 generations ago. The slip space drive that had so amazed the Council was nothing compared to the quantum fold technology already being tested in secret facilities throughout Earth space. The Phantom ships that had shocked everyone with their stealth capabilities were using systems that Earth's engineers now considered primitive. Quite a day, Daniel said, joining her in the observation lounge as the Nightingale prepared to depart. I don't think galactic politics will ever be quite the same. That was the point, Catherine replied. She watched as the council station grew smaller behind them. We showed them enough to change the game, but not enough to make them truly afraid. The perfect balance. Maria Rodriguez entered with a final report. The last analysis is complete, Admiral. The council races are already adjusting their military and research priorities based on what they saw today. They'll be busy trying to catch up to our demonstrated capabilities for years. While we move further ahead, Catherine finished. Remember, everything we showed them today was carefully chosen. The real secrets of Earth's capabilities remain safe. As the Nightingale entered slip space, Catherine thought about the future they had just shaped. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through brute force or intimidation, but through careful strategy and technological superiority. They had changed the galaxy forever, and this was just the beginning. The ship's viewing screen showed the strange effects of slip space travel, but Catherine knew that somewhere out there, invisible to even the most advanced alien sensors, Earth's true advanced ships were already testing technologies that would make today's demonstration look primitive by comparison. That was humanity's real strength, not just what they could do, but what they could imagine and achieve. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what Earth had planned all along.